Chopper.
All right, everything is in order. Sorry about the wait. In fact, there are several apologies in order. Another thing I want to apologize about is, last stream I said that hopefully that would be the last stream where we would be using our old equipment. I did say hopefully, and it's like Huey says, hope is irrational because I don't know what I was thinking saying that. There was no way I was going to have the time to actually get everything ready for the new setup because I've been busy like almost this whole past week with my new workload. Things have changed up in a big way. I won't get into details about it because, I don't like talking about work too much, but it has severely drained my energy to where it's tough. It's really tough, maybe even tougher than before, for me to really focus on the channel. Sorry to say. Um, I think the worst of it might be over, though. Uh, I really do feel like as far as our new workload goes, it was kind of really like front loaded with really tough stuff that we had to do. But now that it's kind of over, um, it should be easier. Should have a little more pep in my step. Also, big changes coming to my schedule where starting this week I'm gonna have Fridays off, which should be a huge help. Huge help for getting me to just be able to, like I said, focus on the channel more. focus on upgrading my equipment, focus on editing, focus on the content that I'm doing right now, which is workshopping my own little Final Fantasy set, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Speaking of, you know, what's in the cards. But I think we're going to do it different from last time. This time, I'm going to lead with the One Piece stuff and then wrap up with what is going on with Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy. Kind of looking at what's going on with the official set and then comparing and contrasting it to what I got going on with my own little set that I've been workshopping. Unfortunately, it's still a long way from finished. Wish I had gotten to work on it more. So there's probably going to be at least a third part to this. I'm probably going to be coming back to this same subject next week and maybe even the week after. I don't think One Piece is on break next week, so we should be back. And then, there was something else I wanted to apologize about, but now I'm having trouble remembering. I guess I just want to apologize and say that, like, the set that I'm working on is still not finished. I'm really trying to, like, race against Wizards to see if I can come out with my fan-made Final Fantasy set before they come out with their official one. It's been fun, though. Honestly, like, it's like I was saying before, this custom Magic card maker thingy, what was it called? Magic Set Editor, I think it is the name of the program. Super, super fun and super intuitive. I love all the measures for auto-correcting the format with automatic capitalization, automatic reminder text, automatically filtering to different symbols and stuff. Really, really cool. Automatically, like, changing the borders and stuff. Excuse me. Got a little Caesars that's trying to make its way back up, but man, that was greasy. But man, what was I saying? That pizza scrambled my brain. Ow. Oh man. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about this. You're probably looking at this and thinking, like, man, Harrison's looking a little funny today, looking a little asymmetrical. Again, I don't want to get too far into the details, but yeah, basically the story was I was helping to move furniture, and we had a lot of desks to take care of, and we had to move them quite a distance, and I didn't really feel like making more than one trip, so I really tried just stacking them high and then moving them all at once. Thankfully, I had a flat bed. Every time I say flatbed, I almost say flatbread. I had a flat bed supplied to me, and so I tried to stack them up real high, and then, like, I tried to move, like, one freaking measly millimeter, and the top table came loose and just wham, like, right in my face. Did not see it coming at all. I was looking down to make sure that I wasn't gonna, like, because the table was like a really tight fit on the flatbed, so I was keeping more of an eye on that, and also just making sure that I didn't accidentally run over my own toes, because I had already bonked my toe pretty bad the day before trying to move the furniture. And so I was looking down, and I just got absolutely blindsided right here, man. It's definitely better than it was before, but it's still pretty sore. It actually cut me open. Maybe I don't want to show it off too much, because YouTube, they can be really prissy about, oh, that's violence, that's against terms of services or whatever. I don't know. Like, I've heard of that happening. Just people showing off whatever battle damage they've got, and that's flagged as violence. And it's dumb. But yeah, it's still pretty sore. It's It's been almost a week though, so it is healing. Um, I'm also just glad that it's that all things considered, I think I got off easy. I could have I could have gotten it a lot worse. Like if I hadn't been looking down when it happened, and I got bonked right here. Like if I had been looking up, I could have got it like here, or here, or here. Like imagine losing an eye or losing teeth over something like that. That would have been really bad, and it would have been my fault too, because uh, I was kind of the devil on my own shoulder in that situation, trying to be like, nah, it's fine. Uh, you can totally move all of them at once. You're not gonna have to make a round trip. It's not gonna come loose. Nothing bad's gonna happen. Just and then no, yeah. So that's rough. And what you don't see is that only just recently the liquid stitches that they gave me have finally come off. That was my first experience with that. It's weird stuff. It's basically children's glitter glue, but with medical applications. So they just glopped on this big old like Ivan looking stuff, and that helps seal it shut and heal properly. I'm looking for a special cream to help reduce scarification, and I haven't found it yet. I thought I had some left over from my last surgery, but it's gone. Oh. Say it's finally come off, but the bad news is that some of my eyebrow hair has come off with it, so it's looking a little extra funny right now. So if it looks a little weird, looking at it on this camera, it just kind of looks like someone just took a marker and just drew over my brow. But yeah, it's pretty sore. Look forward to getting a little more healing done. Yeah, so I've been a bit brutalized over the course of this last week, and that has also contributed to my inability to focus on the channel. Yeah. Definitely trying to be more cautious now. Anyway, I think I'll just get into the One Piece stuff now. And hey, look at that! For the first time ever, I don't have to change the text. I looked up. I always catch myself right like 10 minutes into the stream. Almost invariably, I look up at my text, and I see that I haven't changed it. But we're leading with One Piece this time, so that's fine. So let's pop this open before we read the newest chapter, which has been hyped up in an enormous way. We've got some new Flix Piece stuff going on, so let's pull that up real quick. I made sure to save that, and ooh golly, I gotta downsize that. Okay, are we good? I'm watching YouTube on the other screen right now, and I'm not gonna start again until I know that it's good. Wow, that's really out of sync. I don't know what's going on with that. Uh, is there a way to fix that? Properties? Hold on. You, me, shut up. I'm trying to figure this out. Why is it being like this? Okay, I don't know how that helps. Filters? I don't understand why it's so delayed. Like, that's really bad. What is this? Oh, that's just the volume. How do I make it not so... What about this? Desktop audio, mic. Sync offset. How do I make it not so... What about this? Audio, mic. Sync offset. Okay, let me try it now. Testing. No, that's awful. Minus 10 milliseconds. What about minus 100 milliseconds? Jackass. Testing. I don't even know if this is gonna like update while I'm live. It might be that I just have to like restart OBS, and I really don't want to do that. I don't even know if this is gonna like update while I'm live. No, it's just cooked. So that was deeply upsetting. How I was like right in the middle of fixing something, and then OBS just closed. Like, it didn't even give me an error message or anything. It just quit. Just right in the middle of moving something, it was just like, I'm out. Okay. So it unfixed what I was trying to do with the screen. So I'm going to try and move this again. Does that make it crash again? And I got to make sure that the little screen shield anti-copyright, whatever you want to call it, is on, because even though this is, you know, an advertisement that they put out, and even though, you know, I'm basically giving them free advertising by checking this out, and this channel is in no way a substitute for just experiencing it yourself when, you know, you got like a fat goober flapping his jaw over everything, and there's a big filter, and the screen is transparent and hard to see. Netflix has proven to be fiercely guarded when it comes to their IPs. Like, even just the slightest thing. I've been caught on the most ridiculous things. Like, I always go back to the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs thing. Like, who is so fiercely guarded of the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs IP that, you know, somebody could post a video of it on YouTube and it'll be fine, but I stream myself watching it, and no, that's too far. So, I don't know, maybe this promotional footage of Season 2 of Flicks Piece could get me in trouble, so let me just go ahead and make it borderline unwatchable. I mean, And this, I don't even know how to feel about this. Like right away, man, I can barely. That's maybe like I try to play it close to the vest. This is maybe still like too invisible. Let me go to the filters. What about the filters for this? Because this is really opaque. That is like maybe too much. Okay, maybe that's an overcorrection. I wish double clicking on something in OBS took you to the filters instead. Instead of taking you to this screen. The properties screen, somehow different from filters. It's completely useless. I never used that menu. But whatever. I don't know how to feel about this. Like right away, 0 seconds in, I don't know how to feel about this. Is Chopper doing the Chopper thing? And that's cute. But then I'm just looking at it. And like strange, like unintentionally eerie. Like his eyes, man. His eyes look so weird. Alright, let's see. It's cute that they kept that detail, the hiding the wrong way. That is like the most anime character quirk thing that you did not think that live action could ever do or even dare to do. Oh boy. I don't know about that voice acting. That is that's a little weird, not as cute as I would want Chopper to sound. So yeah, like fully CG character. I shouldn't be surprised at that. That's quite the undertaking, though. You know, if we're really gonna like go the distance, that's a lot of seasons of having this CG character hanging around. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna take a huge chunk of their budget. Man.
I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm supposed to tell you about One Piece season 2. Help! Someone call a doctor. Oh wait, I am a doctor. Come on, Chopper, you can do it.
Oh man.
Okay, One Piece season 2 is coming in 20.
I mean, it's no ugly Sonic, right?
You did it, Chopper! Everyone, give him a hand! Wait, is it over?
Man. That's,
Sure. I don't need your clapping. You jerks.
oh boy. I don't know. 2026, really? Did they say that before? I didn't pick up on that. 2026. That's a long ways off. Sheesh. I hope it's early 2026. Wouldn't that be nice if it came out like just in time for our 2-year anniversary? Man, like, I guess the only thing I can say is, let me go ahead and take this off now. That's fine. It's as good as you probably possibly could have hoped for. I mean, if it was weird like Garbage Pail Kids animatronics, that probably would not have gone over well. I'm curious how they're going to do his different transformations. Like when he switches to being a deer, are they going to use like an actual trained deer and then like, or reindeer, I should say, and then like do CG mouth flaps or whatever? Man, this this is a bitter pill to swallow. It's the medicine that you got to take even though you don't want to. Like this, I couldn't. I don't like it, and at the same time, I couldn't imagine it being any other way. So, I'm surprised at how much of his characterization is seemingly unfiltered. I'm of the assumption that this is basically how he's going to be in the show, and they've made a deliberate effort to showcase all his little character quirks from the manga and the anime to try and... I feel like this is almost like a litmus test. Like, they're giving us a sample platter of what it's like to be around Chopper with all his little quirks and stuff and seeing how people react to it. And, I don't know. It's tough. I feel like I'm not going to get the full measure of how much I'm going to like live action Chopper until I actually see him interact with other characters, like, face to face. But, yeah, that's, oh boy, that is definitely happening. So let's switch gears now over to the newest chapter. There we go, with chapter 1150, Dami Reversi? Dami Mommy, excuse me? That sounds like a technique name. I assume that's some shtick that Emu has, where they like take over some other person. They like possess them or overshadow them or whatever. And let's see what we got here. We got, more of the cover story. Yasue's katana was returned to Enma Shrine in Hakumai, bringing the pilgrimage to an end. Oh boy, I sure hope so, because I was pretty much sick of this cover story as soon as it started. Yeah, not interested in that. I do notice that Ulti and Page 1 have these weird cloaks on with the sun, like the very distinctive one big circle with 8 little circles around it. I guess that's also part of the design for the Kozuki clan emblem. But it's interesting. Alright, what do we got? We got this guy with this hair. Okay. That's how you're rocking. Okay. The grown-ups arrive. Look, the kids, they're okay. Old guy from the bar. My daddy got knocked into the underworld. What? Yasan got knocked down? It was that woman. Watch out. Dad, Mommy. She's floating? You must be scared, huh? Let me get you. Wait, she's floating? Who's floating? Oh. Emu's floating. And she got the crazy eyes. Like, diggity daggone. Weird looking broccoli hair guy got injured somehow. What? Huh? What just happened? How noisy. Okay. Emu has, How Shoku no Haki. I don't know why I would be surprised about that. They pretty much hand it out like candy these days. So, dang. Alright. And, what? Hey. Ooh. Darul doesn't like that. Darul's got the crazy eyes, too. And, what? So, it seems like Gunko, Emu, whoever this is supposed to be, has conjured some sort of weaponry from the little summoning circle. I'm getting the vibe that the summoning circles are really Emu's thing, above all else. Like that's part of the package that she hands out to other people, or they hand out to other people, is this summoning power. It really comes from her. Show no tolerance for resistance. Is that truly all the... What? I can't even read that. Is this like a... Like, did the translator just have a freak out or something? Curing him? Who is this translator? Now Killingham is Kiringham? I mean, I know that he's a Kirin, which is also called a Killing, whatever. I'm gonna give up on trying to read that sentence. But High One, I've kept the nightmare holes open. Monsters keep pouring out of people's nightmares all over the island. They come from dreams where the idea of death doesn't exist, which means I can bring them back with a single word. Summers, guide those brats. Right away. That bastard's still alive. Is that woman up there the same as before? She looks different. Where are Luffy and the... I should actually talk about that, by the way. This design is pretty fire. The wings remind me of Stussy with her Devil Fruit power that was never really expounded upon, honestly. But I don't think they're the same. I assume they're two different things. Like, she seemed more like a vampire. This seems more like a devil girl. She's got the tail and the big trident and whatever. Is that part of the Devil Fruit? She can conjure a trident? It's got the same design as the tail. Maybe that's just a... Yeah, it's, again, probably a Devil Fruit thing. And again, no pants. We can conjure lots of things, but no pants. Where are Luffy and the others? Oh, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji-kun, and Hajruden-san too. Just when we need them. I just realized that I did not check up on whether or not we're still on Twitch, because Twitch. Hold on a second. No, hold on a second. Let's not screw this up. Even though we just screwed this up. Are we live? Channel, please. Yes, we are. We are live. Hey! There's chat on Twitch, and I can't see it. I got multi-chat open. Hold on. I just closed Twitch. Let me reopen it. Oh, that... I got done dirty. Sorry, guys. I did not see you guys there. Okay. So, no, drop that. Let's check out what's going on in chat. I can finally put it... Oh, yeah, you were in chat when we were watching Roomba together. Yeah, this is me. This is Cross H Productions. I mean, I don't have my hair fixed right now. And I got a little boo-boo here, but yeah, it's me. Hope my day has been good. This day has been good. You know, mostly. I didn't get to finish some of the stuff I wanted to do for the stream. I had some projects I was working on. But, I mean, other than that, it's been okay. Just had some Little Caesars, sipping on some Mountain Dew. What's that to stand to the right of you? To my right. I've got this dragon. Let me pull this up. Bam. This is what I got going on. I picked this up from a kiosk that was going on at... I don't even remember what it was called. I think it was called the Festival of Lights or whatever. Just like a local zoo. had like this thing where they rolled out all sorts of fancy like Chinese style paper lights and whatever, and then there was a kiosk that was selling stuff like this, and it's super cool. Dragons are kind of my thing a little bit. I mean, I got this going on here. I don't know if you can see it in the back, but I've got a little wooden dragon sculpture that I painted myself. And then I've got this. Oh, this is heavy. I got Bahamut from Final Fantasy X sitting over here just out of frame. Looking cool. He's a little dusty. A little dusty, a little dirty. I bought him used, but I mean, this is a rare item, and that was the best I could do. Alright, sorry again for missing your chat. OBS once again has just completely dropped the ball. I've got a multi-chat thing right here, and it's not showing you guys at all. So now I've got Twitch opened up over here, and I'm gonna have to fix that because now I can't read One Piece. So let me just no. I'll just do that. And then Kai the Viking says, "Yo, what's that thing on the center?" I hear. Oh, yeah. That's my dragon. He's pretty cool. I also have another one. I don't know if I still have it. Hold on. I don't even need these headphones anymore. My ears are starting to sweat. And let me make sure my pants don't fall down. When I stream, I don't wear a belt. Because why? Here we go. I'll do this just to showcase my little dragon collection a little bit. Here's one I painted on a previous stream. I picked up a wooden dragon sculpture from like a local artisan, and it was just plain brown wood with like maybe a little bit of lacquer on it. And so I figured out how to prep it for painting, and now it's done up pretty nice. I wonder if I should actually like lacquer it up. Because I like it flat, I like it not shiny, but also maybe the paint could use a little protection. And then this is another wire dragon, obviously on a much smaller scale than this one, you know. Yeah, don't talk to me or my son ever again. But this little guy I picked up as like a teenager from a little stand way down in Key West, down in Florida. Yeah. So that's my little dragon collection. Let me set all these guys up so y'all can see them. Bam, bam. And then bam. So there you go. Old dragon family all together. Yeah, again, very sorry about not seeing your chat. I'm very disappointed in OBS right now. But I think now we can jump back into... Well, now I gotta bring up OBS again. Go back to the chapter. And now I gotta bring up... Well, first I gotta close this. Because I whipped up the thumbnail for the stream like just a few minutes before the stream started. And I kept being dissatisfied with it, so I changed it like 3 or 4 times. There we go. We back in there. And you can clearly see, like, there's a chat window right there, right next to me, and it's not picking up you guys at all. So that's messed up. We're hoping that's fixed by the next time we stream. This is probably gonna be a short stream at this rate because there are so many technical issues going on all at once with the volume that's out of sync and the chat that's not working. Just it's all goofy all the time. So let's see, where was I? Where are Luffy and the others? Oh, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji-kun, and Hajruden-san too. Just when we need them, they're all down in the depths of the underworld. This is actually a little too visible. Let me go ahead and tweak this a little bit in OBS again. Filters. I don't want to be caught lacking. Okay, no, that should be fine. Open up Twitch again. Oh, Kai the Viking also says, I hear you. I had to move a 200-pound log from my mother-in-law a few days ago myself. That is tough. It's especially tough because, you know, it's one thing to carry something that's heavy. It's another thing entirely to carry something that's heavy when you also struggle to get a good grip on it. Like, your grip has everything to do with how heavy something feels, which is way more important than how heavy it actually is. Like, with a good grip, with a really good grip, you can carry enormous weights, no problem. But without that, even something light can feel like it weighs the world. Let's see what we got going on here. What are you doing, Robin? If we don't act, we'll all end up captured. I'm not just going to stand here and do nothing. Over in the library. The problem is, who do we bargain with once we have these brats as bait? Crack. Oh, he's starting to regenerate again, so it's not foolproof, but man. You're right, High One. The idea of a land without a king is absolutely insane. Man, this is the mindset of the ruling class, is they can't even conceive of a land without some sort of, like, supreme overlord. Damn, this hurts. Gabon, you jerk. This little, like, blurb right here. This little speech bubble. That is very strange to me. It represents a rare moment of vulnerability for Emu. Like, Emu doesn't know what to do, and they're actually asking questions of other people on what they should do. Like, that's not something I would ever expect from Emu. I thought that Emu was very independent, very just making decisions all by themselves. Interesting. I command thee to seize this country. Blue Oni Dory and Red Oni Brogi. Ye shall become kings of this land. What? You are not the boss of these blokes. You think they're gonna do what you tell them to just because, like, bizarre behavior. You're one of the gods' knights. You're the one behind all this chaos in our Elbaf. Move out, men. Yes, boss. Watch it, Brogy. We're taking the kids back. How many of you are there? Hearken, Brogy. Thou shalt now go and confront Ja Rule, bearded mountain. Off with his head and bear it aloft. What? And now she's pulling out this crazy, like, demon book. What is all this stuff? Is they, whatever? Are they actually gonna, like, cast a spell to, like, make these guys their thralls or whatever? Then before all proclaim, we are the kings of Elbaf. Shut it. You're not the one who decides our country's fate. And she's... What? What? What is, like, this Matryoshka doll of occult nonsense? They summon a book that then summons a shotgun. And a knife. Thou shalt not remain in that form. So, I mean, it's a giant knife. They stab... Which one is it? I always get Dory and Brogy confused. And then they also have a giant shotgun. I shall grant unto thee the power of evil. And she freaking blows off his hand. Golly. Yeah, his arm. What boss? No way. His strongest arm. Wait, really? He was left-handed? I don't think I ever noticed that before. That woman's gonna regret that. In exchange for a fleeting span of life, thou shalt receive an immortal body and prodigious... Yep, this is really sounding like a lot of what we were suspecting. Yeah, she's got some sort of crazy, like, deal that she makes with people to give them all these powers. Under Mu's domination, thou art bound by neither logic nor reason. For the demon is the very form existence was fated to assume. Wow, this is crazy. The demon is the very form existence was fated to assume. That's some crazy stuff. Translator's note on Imu's ability. The kanji means demonic contract. But Oda gives the reading a kuwaru, a quarrel, which may be a nod to the energy-wielding alien coral from A.E. Van Gogh's Black Destroyer. Oh my gosh, that's reaching in deep. Demonic contract, a quarrel. She said demon? What's she trying to do? I'm sinking. Dark inversion domain. Domi reversi. What? This is like a whole bunch of stuff. Like, this is like a whole ceremony that's going on. I'm starting to get cold. I need to turn this fan off. I turned it on when I was stressing about what was going on with Twitch, and I was starting to, like, figuratively and literally sweat. Man, what? What? The weird, like, magic circle rises up from the ground to consume him. Ah, boss. Wait. Huh? He turned into a demon. He's huge. Boss, what happened to you? His face is terrifying. Did he really turn into a demon? Give us our boss back. But Brogy, we're your comrades. You've never raised a hand against us. A warrior's pride. Oh, wait, who said that? Is it Brogy, or is it the guy who got smacked away? Gababa, I feel like I can do anything. What is this sensation? Dory is down. Gya. Men, let's go kill Ja Rule. Don't do that, boss. Please snap out of it. And what about the kids? If you do this, there's no turning back. Stop those two. Chiefs, what? Huh? You guys too? Wow. Was it because they were caught between them? That's either way, fall back. Not bad at all. So this is Elbaf's true power. Don't raise everything. This land must be ruled. Yet let us observe but a little longer to assay their worth in battle. Please run, Jorul-sama. The chiefs aren't acting normal. Running isn't something you tell a warrior. That doesn't seem like a complete sentence, but... This is, really profoundly twisted. Like, I was always of the assumption that this demonic pact was something that you had to opt into. Not that it was something that Imu could force on people to basically turn them evil. Wow. This has me messed up. Like, this is kind of disturbing. This is the first time that I've really experienced this in One Piece where I see something and I feel kind of dirty looking at it. Like, these are old characters that have been around for a while, and then this character just comes along and just turns them evil. I really do hope that there's a way to turn them back, because last I checked, someone who receives power from Imu, when Imu decides to take it back, they turn to nothing but bones. Could this really be the end for the Giants? For Dory and Brogy? Like, they get turned evil, and then the next thing we know, they're going to have their flesh stripped from their bones? When they no longer serve Imu's purposes? This is scary. This is scary, and again, it just feels so wrong. I don't know how to feel about this chapter. This is kind of like messing with me on an emotional level that I'm not really like used to. Which I guess you can say is a good thing. If it's emotionally effective, then that's a good chapter. Man. That's scary stuff. But now I think I'm going to pack this up. There we go. Because my browser was freaking out on me. Man, everything's freaking out on me. I still feel really bad that I didn't get to see those chats. Rain and Kai the Viking haven't responded, so it makes me feel like they just got fed up and impatient and they just left because I wasn't responding to them. And I really didn't mean for that to happen. Man, I feel really bad about that. Because I would never do that on purpose. I don't just ignore chat. Like, I'm immensely grateful for anyone who shows up to support me. And now that they probably just walked away feeling like I totally blew them off, like I wasn't paying them any mind at all. Very, very sad about that. Now I'm getting hot again. I need to turn this back on. So, yeah. We've got I think I've heard that this is like the full spoilers for the new Final Fantasy set that has dropped. And in a lot of ways, I think it has succeeded. Like whoever's in charge for making sure that these cards are on flavor, I feel like in a lot of cases they really cooked. Let me crank up the opacity all the way now because like there's no point. Yeah. I think how do I put this? First off, let me just I don't know why, but my nose is really bothering me. Feels like there's something crawling in it. Yeah. Daggone. Sorry, I know you probably see me like touch my nose all through this stream, and it's not because I have a nervous tick or because I do blow or something. It's just I don't even really know what's going on. But how do I put this? In terms of like mechanics, on a case by case, card by card basis, I feel like they cooked. But in terms of theming, in terms of color and how cards work together, it's not really how I would put it together at all. Like, just right here, Cloud being white, that doesn't really click for me at all. Why would he be white? Cloud isn't really. I don't know. He's not really about justice and morality and all that kind of thing. He's more about just looking out for his people, the ones that he cares about and stuff. Like, maybe he wanted to be a hero at some point, but I don't know if I equate that to like the white collar identity. Or just I don't know. There's just not a solid connection between like the games as a theme and like Magic the Gathering colors and mechanics as a theme. There's not a lot of congruity there. Not a lot of synergy. Because you look at each color and each color pair and each archetype, and it just kind of they seem to just kind of borrow freely from across all Final Fantasy games. Like here's a Final Fantasy 8 card that's randomly blue, but then Squall is like black and white. Or a Final Fantasy 7 seems to be mostly black and white, but then we have like this random blue card. I don't know. And we've got these like job select equipment type things that are kind of spread out across all colors. And I don't know how to feel about that. We got the different elemental crystals, but they're kind of a catch-all for all crystals across the series, because the elemental crystals, they show up in 1, they show up in 2, 5. There are crystals in 4, but I don't think they're elemental crystals. I think they're just like generic crystals. Final Fantasy IV is also like very black and white. Exdeath is like he's black and green, but then so is the Cloud of Darkness. I don't know. I'm just looking at this and imagining how it must come across for someone who maybe hasn't played many Final Fantasy games or any Final Fantasy games, and seeing how they've taken all these different games and just kind of mashed them up and turned them into like a big pop culture stew. Like, you would have such a hard time trying to parse what Final Fantasy is about. This is not a good introduction for prospective Final Fantasy players to get a grip on what the series is about and what the appeal is. It just seems like it's all over the place. I do like this art, though. This is my first time seeing this. I like the art for Light of Judgment because that is exactly the way that it looked in the game, where he had like the big floating like triangle thing around him, because that's what they like to do, like with Mode 7. I don't know why, for whatever reason, they just thought that having triangles float and rotate around in three-dimensional space was like just the hypest thing. You saw that a lot in FF6. You saw that a lot in Chrono Trigger as well, I believe. Yeah, and I'm not going to go through these one by one like I did before. Not right now, anyway. I think I want to take everything here and then like turn it into a tier list and go to what was it called? Tier Maker? Hold on a sec. It is called Tier Maker. I don't know. Did somebody already make it? No, you look up Final Fantasy, just pulls up, usual Final Fantasy stuff. What if you look up Magic the Gathering? Okay, what if you look up both? Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy. Yeah, I think what I want to do is take everything that's here and then try and cook up a list in Tier Maker, evaluating each card based on, 1, how good it is, and 2, how good the flavor is. Because some of these are good, but others I don't know. Like, again, going back to Cloud Midgar Mercenary, where he's all about equipments. Like, why Cloud in particular? Like, equipment is a factor across all Final Fantasy games. Why do you single out Cloud as the guy who's going to be all about equipment? This isn't even one of the Final Fantasy games where you can, like, switch equipment on the fly, and it becomes a big part of combat, where it's like super dynamic and you could like switch to special weapons in a pinch. Final Fantasy VII doesn't do that. I'm trying to think of games where you do that, where you can switch equipment mid-combat. I know Final Fantasy X does that. I know there are some old Final Fantasy games that do that, but Final Fantasy VII does not let you do that. Which is a shame, really, when you think about it, because in Final Fantasy VII, on top of, having the equipment and all their little stats and associated properties and such, you also have the slotted materia. And so being able to slot out entire, like, slices of materia like on like again just on the fly, I feel like that would be really powerful and open up for some. It would open up some interesting avenues for strategy. You know, not that Final Fantasy VII is that hard. It's actually one of the easier games that I've ever played. Although that's coming from someone who has played Final Fantasy VII literally like I'm pretty sure I played it dozens of times, and so maybe it seems easier to me compared to someone who is just jumping into it and has no idea and is just coming to grips with the mechanics. Yeah, and like Jack being black, I don't know if I 100% get that. I probably would have made him like red. Sephiroth, of course, almost all Sephiroth cards are black, but then this one is red. It's weird. It's just not at all the way that I would make a Final Fantasy set. I would want one thing. I would want like way more of a balance between the different games. At least as far as the classic ones go. With this, there's a clear bias towards the best sellers 6, 7, 10, 14, and then the other games they can kind of maybe muscle their way in if they try hard enough. Now that the full spoilers are out, I can see that it's a little more balanced than it was before, where there were almost no cards for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, like 13, 15. It's a little more balanced than it was before, but mostly it is just about the top sellers. And I don't like that. Especially don't like... where is it? Because this is crazy, alright. It's probably somewhere around here. Lionheart. What did they do to Lionheart? This is the most powerful weapon in Final Fantasy VIII. One of the most powerful weapons in the entire franchise, I would argue. Because not only does it have like the property of like it deals more damage the more HP you have, at least I think that's how it works, but it also unlocks Squall's ultimate limit break, and also Gunblades in general are just ridiculously overpowered. They have perfect accuracy no matter what, even if you're blinded. They let you do critical hits whenever you want. It has all this immense power, but it's not legendary. Why? That doesn't make any sense. And you know what? Actually, I think I'll take that back. Because you actually craft the Lionheart. And so it is, I think, theoretically possible to make more than one. It's other ones where it doesn't make sense. Like Buster Sword, why would that not be legendary? That is ridiculous. But Lionheart, it's uncommon, costs 4, equip cost of 2, and all it does is it deals 2 damage to any target on entry. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Could you possibly have built a more underwhelming, underperforming equipment card based on a fairly iconic weapon? That is terrible. And other people have pointed out a lot of these equipment cards, in fact almost all of them, are designed to have special compatibility with They're matching character. Like, you saw it before. Buster Sword has this thing where it's got a little, like, trigger thing that goes off. Cloud has a thing where it's like, by the way, as long as he's equipped, if his ability or his equipment's ability triggers, it gets to trigger some more. So that's great. Or, let's see, Steiner got lifelink, and guess what? If I scroll down here, you'll see Excalibur 2 has a thing where whenever you gain life, a cool thing happens. We've got Genji Glove, where it's got double strike, double combat phases. Let's see what Gilgamesh has going on, because I saw him up here in like the red section. Let's see. Whenever he enters or attacks, look at the top 6. Put our equipment cards from among them onto the field. Put the rest on the bottom. When you put one or more equipment onto the field this way, you may attach them to a samurai control. He's a samurai. And Genji Glove. Let's just go ahead and look at Genji Glove again. You can see expensive to cast, expensive to equip, but Genji, if he hits Genji Glove, you get all of that for free. And you know, we were talking about how Gilgamesh, when he attacks, something cool happens. Well, Genji Glove says that when he attacks, something cool happens. And there's another combat phase, so he gets to attack again. Like, that all clicks. Lionheart has, like, nothing going on. Where's Squall? Squall's black and white, right? So he's got to be somewhere in this section right here. Somewhere. I think. There he is, Squall. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, return target's permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your yard to the field. These two cards have nothing to do with each other, despite the fact that they should have everything to do with each other. Now, just to be clear, I hate Final Fantasy VIII. It's just awful, like, top to bottom, really. It's easier to list the number of good things in that game, things that are actually well executed. But even I could not be dared to do Final Fantasy VIII this dirty, because I know that it has hardcore fans, and it just, I don't know. I just can't imagine making a card this bad on purpose, and it's hard to even imagine making a card this bad by accident. Like, when you were absolutely cooking with all these other equipment cards. Like, how do you just totally drop the ball here? I don't get it. I really don't. Starter kit. I've had a fun time watching Nizuhon Magic's set review. Can anyone explain what's going on with the starter kit? Because these are cards that were left out of his set review. I didn't see him bring up Beatrix or Seymour Flux or Cloud Planet's Champion or Sephiroth Planet's Heir or any of that. Ooh, looking next to them side by side, I'm just now realizing that these two guys form like a single work of art, which is pretty cool. And they're obviously meant to be like opposites, red and white versus blue and black. Planet's Champion, Planet's Heir. That's cool. I don't really understand starter kit. He was mentioning like a bonus sheet. Are these part of the bonus sheet? And then alternate art SIDS, yeah. First off, I like how they did all the different SIDS. And they made it to where, you know, you can have as many of them as you want in your deck. But I also like how they made a special card just for Sid from FF7. Because most of these are non-combatants. most Sids, they are not player characters. They are just side characters. But then in FF7, you get a Sid that's playable, and so I think he was white. So let me see if I can find him here. Sid. Sid. I don't see him now. But if I just look it up. Sid. Yeah, there you go. Sid Free Flyer. Yeah, so they made like a little... Oh, it's for the commander, though. That's why. That's why I didn't see him. Still, though, I mean, that's neat that they gave him an extra card because he's an actual player character. Whoops. Whoopsie. I don't know, but ever since I first heard that there was going to be a Final Fantasy set, it kind of got the gears turning in my head. You know, how would I go about this? How would I design my own Final Fantasy set? And so I started cooking it up. You know, and really, anytime I had downtime and I was just really bored, I would whip out the memo app on my phone and start workshopping my own little fan-made Final Fantasy sets. And so now I've gone and downloaded this Magic Set Editor to try and make my own. And so now that the time is upon us that that Wizards is finally coming out with this Final Fantasy set, is really lit a fire under my ass to try and get this finished as soon as possible. Especially seeing how they do the set and seeing all the like little things that I have nitpicks with, all the things that I would do different. And so that's what I've been doing a lot of. And you can see that I've still got a long way to go. Not that many cards. These are all part of just like a little sample platter that I cooked up for the last stream. And then since last stream, I've been working on some more. I've been working on the FF10 archetype and the FF4 archetype as well. I'll be doing more of that over the next week, I think. Man, my eyebrow still hurts. Oh man. I'm gonna need some Neosporin. What did I do with that Neosporin? I'm gonna need to do a little triage on myself after this stream. But yeah, just been making my own little fan-made set and having a good time with it. So, just a little like compare and contrast. The way it is in the FF7 set, like I said, it's all just kind of mashed together. The individual games don't have a lot of identity, but with my set, each game is an archetype. Each of the original 10 Final Fantasy games, they each have their own color pair, their own theme, their own mechanics. Just to try and like make them stand out, you know. Try and make fans happy by making them feel like their favorite Final Fantasy game has its turn in the spotlight, really. And so these cards, I won't go over these cards again, although I have tweaked them a bit. Maybe I should go over them again. Because there have been some balance changes. I went over some of these older cards. But it was tough. I've learned a lot about set design and balancing and stuff over the course of this little experiment. And so it's been tough. It's been a bit of a learning experience. but I think I've cooked up something good. Like, first thing was just trying really hard to figure out what the color pairs should be for each game, and then also trying to figure out what mechanic they should all have. Like, what specific permutation of each color pair should be going on here? What should we focus on? And how do they all tie together into a single universal aesthetic? And so the thing I came up with, first off, in terms of colors, in order to figure out what color pair each game should be, I keyed out on what the core conflict was for each game, and then tried to spin a color pair based on that. And then in terms of the mechanics, I tried to come up with something that was based on, one, the contents of the story, but also two, the numbers. The numbers of each Final Fantasy game became a sort of sub-theme here. So to showcase that, as soon as the Magic Set Editor stops freaking out, it's been like this lately. Hello? Okay, there you go. Let me go ahead and hit the save button now, because it's had some hiccups. So yeah, Warrior of Light, real basic, 1/1 for 1 red, and then Singularity. Because it's Final Fantasy 1, so whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+0 and gains menace until end of turns. And that's reflective of one, the turn-based combats that was featured in Final Fantasy 1, but also Singularity. There's also like a time-space singularity type thing going on in that game where time becomes cyclical. And so that's kind of how I came up with that. Rolling forward to FF2, that's the first Final Fantasy game that had dual wielding, and dual to Final Fantasy 2. This is the mechanic for FF2. Where as long as there are two or more equipment attached to a creature, then some sort of effect goes off. And in terms of colors, Final Fantasy 1 was kind of tough to figure out, but I eventually settled on Gruul, red green, because I kind of figured that the good guys are kind of more of the green side of FF1, because they're about like nature and harmony, and then red is about chaos and destruction. And then Final Fantasy 2, that color pairing was actually super easy, because it really is about like Imperial forces versus rebels. And then red white also already really cares a lot about equipment, so in terms of mechanics, that was also no-brainer. Like, everything about this, if there was one archetype that I cooked up that I think I would be the most proud of, it would probably be FF2, because everything about that just instantly meshed. So that's Furion. Whenever he attacks, if he's got 2 or more equipment on him, you get to destroy an artifact. And then Emperor Mateus, he doesn't have dual wield, but he has like an equipment thing going on. I also went ahead and squeezed vehicles in there because in FF2 he has like a big flying fortress, whatever. So that clicks, and White already kind of cares about vehicles in a big way. FF3 coming up with a color pair was tough. At this point in development, I was just kind of stuck with leftovers. I had already figured out a lot of the other color pairs, and I hadn't found one for blue-black. I eventually decided that FF3 would be the blue-black archetype, because in a big way it's about permanence versus impermanence. main bad guy wants to live forever at any cost. He represents the black side of the Dimir archetype. And then you've got the new generation that is fighting for change. They represent the blue side of Dimir. And I don't necessarily know if it was the best fit in terms of flavor, but blue-black, they really like mill. So I came up with this keyword, this ability word called adjust, because in FF3 there's an adjustment period whenever you switch jobs. And all it means here is as long as an opponent milled 3 or more cards in a turn, then all sorts of different effects come online. Like you get to put a +1/+1 counter on this dude. And then you've got enablers like the Cloud of Darkness, where when they enter and on your upkeep, you mill 3 cards. Honestly, this creature might be a little undercosted, even though she costs 3 black mana. I don't know. And she's super evasive. I might want to dial up that cost, because that's really strong. Even though the body is nothing to write home about, I don't know. I think that's going to be something I'm going to have to rebalance. Yeah, that's really strong. I'm actually going to dial that up by 2. There we go. Maybe even more. Because that's really, really strong. I'll keep it at 5 for now. And then 4. 4 was kind of tough. It was tough knowing who to throw the white-black color pair to. Just based on the fact that, a lot of these Final Fantasy games, on some level, are a basic good versus evil story. And so they all kind of have claim to the white-black color pair. But if I had to pick one that was very definitively black and white more than any other, it would have to be it would have to be Final Fantasy IV. It has a lot to do with betrayal and redemption and falls from grace and all that kind of thing. And so I came up with redemption, where as long as you have at least 4 more life than an opponent, all these effects come online. Because that's something that the Scholar pair cares about. It's about life gain in a big way, especially draining life, just making sure that you have more than the other guy. And then I think that translates fairly well to, the themes of Final Fantasy about, rising above what you were before to become a newer, better version of yourself. Also, just to switch over from, let's take Cecil, for example. He's right here. Let's go ahead and talk about him. His dark beginnings as a Dark Knight, with a very reckless, self-destructive fighting style. Eventually, he learns to take better care of himself. So I think in this case, it's a flavor win. You'll also notice that when you read his text box, it reads a lot like a transform effect, despite not actually being a transform effect. And that's just because I personally don't care for transform effects. I don't like double face cards in general. I think they're annoying. I don't like anything that force me to play with sleeves or proxies of any kind. And then Golbez, he's all black. And then he's got this thing that's reflective of his boss fight where he conjures the Shadow Dragon. When he enters, if you've got redemption going, then you get like this big awesome dragon. And if you don't, then you get to drain some life, so that hopefully you do have 4 more life than an opponent's next time. And then maybe you do get that dragon token the next time you cast Golbez. Final Fantasy V, figuring out a color pair for this wasn't too hard. Actually, before I go ahead, I've been putting in work on the Final Fantasy IV archetype. I should go ahead and check that out. I don't have art for these, unfortunately, and I'm not going to go super deep into all of these. Oh, that should be in italics. There. But this will show you just real quick what this archetype that I'm working on is about. Actually, this is really bad. You guys can't even read that. I need to blow this up as best as I can. Now I'm remembering why I had the screen blown up before. Wow, that's really bad. Let me try and fix that. Here, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it like this. There. Now that's much more visible, wouldn't you say? Oh yeah, that's way better. I think I'm going to have to come up with a separate scene for this right here, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of this kind of content in the future. But now you can see a little bit more of what we got going on with the FF4 archetype. Lots of redemption, lots of lifelink, lots of gaining life, lots of draining life, lots of cards that start out small and weak, and then as you gain life, as long as you gain a life lead over your opponents, they get bigger, they get more keywords, special abilities that they couldn't activate before. Fusoya's got a cool little anthem effect that doubles up when you've got redemption going. We've got Edward the Spoony Bard. Who I gave him like his little hide ability that he does. It's very weak and crappy and kind of a slow way to gain life. We've got some common creatures. Unfortunately, something I've noticed going over my work on this set is there are a lot of creatures and not a lot of non-creatures. And part of the reason why it's that way is just because I feel more confident in my ability to balance creature cards versus non-creature cards. But looking at this now, this is like way unbalanced. I should probably try and cook up some more non-creature cards, because reading up on it, most sets are about half creatures and half non-creatures, but it is overwhelmingly creatures. There are very few non-creatures. I've got the occasional sorcery. I don't think I even have any instants cooked up yet. A few lands, but not a lot going on. I got to work on the balance for this set. But, it is a work in progress, so whatever. I'll figure it out. Before that, I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough, like, common creatures, enough one-drop creatures, enough just, like, chumps, really. I was worried that it was going to be too overloaded with, like, really epic, expensive legendary creatures like Commander Overload, which, some people do complain about. They complain that there is just a Commander flood going on right now. Every set comes out with so many legendary creatures that it feels like non-legendary creatures don't even matter anymore. I tried to avoid that, but as you can clearly see, there are still a lot of legendary creatures, and still, like I said, a lot of work. But yeah, we've got this nice little effect here, White Mage of Mysidia. It's kind of like Court Homunculus, which I used to play a lot, It's just that instead of like needing to have another artifact under your control, you just got to have redemption going. Underworld Dwarves discounts artifact spells, which kind of helps it blend in with the FF2 archetype if you feel like doing a little cross pollination there. That and the blood sword. I actually like glossed over these. I should go back because the blood sword here is like the blood sword is famously overpowered in FF2, but this has lifelink, and so I kind of deliberately misfiled it under FF4. And I gotta figure out how watermarks work as a more clear way of denoting which archetype everything is supposed to be a part of. We've got the Red Moon, which can tap for any color as long as you've got as long as you've got redemption going. The Giant of Babel. Actually, the Giant of Babel is something that they have come up with, I think. If I look that up, Giant of Babel. Yeah, right there. But it's just Traxxas Scourge of Krug by a different name. Let's see what this says. Enters tapped, doesn't untap. Whenever you cast a historic spell, you untap it. That's okay, I guess. But, I like mine better. Where it's got the redemption effect going. And then let's see, what else did I have? They had their own version of the Lunar Whale. Which is blue for some reason. And it's got like a Magus of the Future effect going on. But, obviously I prefer my own, where it's got another discount effect. And, I forgot to give it the crew. Crew... 2. Whatever. That's a fair cost. I don't know if you can tell just from a glance. Actually, you can't because I don't have it pulled up like that. I've kept the mana curve pretty low. There's not a lot of cards that cost more than 5. In fact, I'm not sure there's any yet. At least. Now I gotta open this up to make sure this is working correctly. Okay, this says we are still live on YouTube, so that's good. So a couple things. One, I had to I started talking and then I realized that I had not actually reinitiated the broadcast to YouTube. And so I had to hit the button for that. And then I'm also now just realizing that because OBS has opened and closed a couple of times, we're no longer recording. And so it's going to make this stream that much harder to edit later to make a proper video. And so that's really annoying. I really don't like that. So, I mean, I'm going to try and push through. I want this stream to be at least 2 hours long because, I don't know, I'm just like that. I don't feel good about having a stream that's only an hour and a half long. That feels so weak. But, yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad, and I'm looking forward to switching to the new equipment. I want to try and do that next weekend. Like, again, no guarantees, no promises, but the way that oh, have you noticed, by the way? OBS just totally undid the thing I did where I changed this window to be over here and also be way bigger. Why did it do that? Okay, so what was I saying? And now Twitch is hiccuping again as well. There we go, that's better. Now I'm real frazzle-brained. I don't like this. Like I was saying, I'm just trying to... I want to try and get the new equipment, the new setup up and running over the course of next weekend. No promises, as always, but that's definitely something that I'm considering. Also, like, what's going on with YouTube? Let me pull that up again. I want to see my channel. It seems like I'm still on. Seems like I'm still live, but oh, that's the problem. OBS was not. It was not showing me the YouTube live control panel because I needed to select the stream again. Okay. So let's see what else we got here. I made White Wind. I'm not sure if this is too powerful or not. I costed it 3 and it lets you double your life. I think that's fair. I think that's fair for life gain. Life gain is famously like pretty weak in MTG. Not a well-respected strategy. So I tried to make this pretty cheap for its effects. Lifeza and Deathga. These are two cards that I kind of struggled with because these are very common effects that Wizards has done over and over again, and it was hard to make sure that they felt unique. So this is my solution. Just give them a redemption effect where they are discounted. Fairly enough that like they don't become ridiculously overpowered. And without redemption, they don't feel ridiculously underpowered. I feel like both costs are pretty fair. And this one returns creatures from the yard to the field. This one is just your typical like what's it called? Hero's Downfall. Destroy target creature or walker. And with that, we can start looking at these black cards. We got Edge the Ninja Prince. I'm happy with that name. Not sure if this guy's too powerful. He's a 2/2 with menace for 2. He has Death Touch as long as Redemption is online. That should also be italicized. Thank you very much. And then he has what is basically his throw effect, where he can tap and discard, and target opponent loses 2 life. Just as a, fairly costly effect. But if you've ever just got cards sitting in your hands that you're not really doing anything with, this is a way to get some value out of them. And this, you might have briefly seen it before, but Paladin Emporium, they both have this thing where as long as redemption is in effect, they can each tutor each other. And I also have to be very careful about balancing them. Obviously, because they're twins, I try to make their effects, their text boxes, very twinsy. And really everything about them, they're 1 mana, 1/1 legendary humans. But you know, life gain and life loss, they might seem like two sides of the same coin, but they have to be balanced very differently. This effect is fine, where it just says whenever another creature enters, you gain 1 life. That's okay. But for life loss, I had to change it to non-token creatures. Because if you got tokens going, like, it would be so easy to just, like, deplete an opponent's life in a hurry. Zemus doesn't have as much going on as I would have liked. I wanted to make it so that you can sacrifice 2 artifacts to make him lose indestructible until end of turn or whatever. But, you know, Undying is not that common an ability, so I felt like having the reminder text there was important, and once the reminder text was there, the text box was already just way too full. So, I actually feel like this guy's underpowered. Nah, because he can survive dying and then come back as a 4/4 that's indestructible. I'm going to go ahead and say that this guy's actually pretty okay. Red Wings, I had different notes jotted down for Red Wings on my phone that I changed just to make it more just fit more in line with black. So it's got this thing where if you tap them and pay 4 life, then you can make any vehicle an artifact creature until end of turn, and you don't have to sweat the whole crew cost thing. Even though Red Wings are just 1/1s. So kind of a twist. It's a black twist on how pilots work. Usually pilots, I think, are white. See, what did I do for Black Mage? They've got Magecraft. Which, you had to have that, right? Maybe I should have changed White Mage of Mysidia to do that, but I don't know. It's fine. So they've got Magecraft, and on Magecraft you get to drain some life. That's fine. The evil dolls that infiltrate the Dwarven Fortress. It's 3 for a 1/1, but if you've got Redemption, you get to make 4 of them instead. And then drains it. This one has gone through some iterations. I've tried very hard to make it not too powerful and not too weak at the same time. So it does a whole bunch of stuff. It drains life, mills your opponent, you scry 1. I think that's pretty good. The milling will help it to also synergize with the Final Fantasy III archetype. Gravisa, clearly the flip side of White Wind. This doubles your life, this halves your opponent's life for, I think, a fair price. I think. By the way, feel free to give me like any input or criticism on these effects. Let me know if you think they should be more effective, more expensive, less expensive, whatever. We've got Kane, which Wizards, they cooked up their own little version of Kane. Which, if I just look that up real quick, boop. And this, he's just black, and he's pretty tough, and he has flying on your turn. But then he's got this thing which, okay, I'll admit, the flavor here is better than what I had come up with, where he gets to like switch sides and stuff. I feel like I would struggle to balance an effect like this, so I wouldn't even want to touch it. But I feel like this is still pretty cool. This is my take on the jump thing. Instead of being like, oh, he's got flying sometimes, this is... I think this is closer to the way it works. Where he'll leave for a little while and he's untouchable, and then when he comes back he deals some damage. And then we've got Rydia, which, if you remember how her little arc works in FF4, she starts out knowing white magic and black magic, but then when she comes back, having been to the, like, whatever, the world where all the summons live, she's specialized more. Whereas she doesn't know white magic anymore, but her black magic and her summoning game are on a whole different level compared to before. So that's FF4, making good progress there. I'm just kind of going through these just based on a checklist. So I did white and blue and white and black. Next I'll do white and red, which is FF2 as previously discussed, and I'll just keep going from there. Next is FF5, obviously. I made this the Golgari archetype because, in a big way, it's about nature versus pollution. Like, there's a bit of pro-environmentalism in a lot of different Final Fantasy games. But I think the one where it is most prominent, most at the center, it would be FF5. So on the green side, that's all like nature and purity. You've got Bartz and Boko. And hey, I actually called this one. I mean, I can't prove that I came up with it first. You'll just have to take my word for it. But yeah, I did call that Bartz and Boko were going to be combined into one card. But in the official set, they're part of this weird bird archetype. Whereas in this, it's part of an Aura's archetype, where they start out pretty cool. They're a nice little grab bag of stuff for pretty cheap. But what I did for this was, because FF5 is so big into jobs, instead of the weird thing that Wizards did, where the jobs are all equipment, in my version, they're auras. And in Final Fantasy V, in terms of gameplay, it's all about mastering different jobs and then mixing and matching them to form winning formulas. So as long as you control 5 or more auras, all of your mastery effects come online. Like Bartz and Boko, they get way, way bigger. They go from a 2-3 with haste to a 5-5 with haste and trample. And I think that's fair, because, one, getting 5 auras on the field is tough. And then 2, making sure they stay on the field is even tougher. This is not like equipment where when the creature goes down, the equipment stays. Auras are an infamously vulnerable subtype where it's really easy to 2-for-1 yourself. Once an enchanted creature goes down, all their auras go with them. And I've got some ideas cooked up for how to mitigate the inherent limitations of the aura subtype. You'll definitely see more of that, hopefully the next time we come back to this. But I think I've come up with auras that will satisfy everyone. I know Nizahone, he always talks big mess about auras, where an aura has to do a lot of really good stuff to impress him. Normally he's just categorically against them because he doesn't like the 2-for-1 aspect. So yeah, given how difficult it is likely to be to keep 5 auras on your side of the field, I think this is a fair cost for such a huge effect. A 2-mana 5-5 with haste and trample. And X-Death, he's got his own mastery thing where he gets to be indestructible. I don't actually remember how I came up with that idea. I don't know what it is about him that's indestructible. I should probably... I feel like I want to workshop that to make it more of like a flavor win. But he's got this other thing where he makes enchantment spells easy to play. I should change that to aura spell specifically. Like all enchantment spells, that feels a little too overpowered. Being able to get all of those for free. There, that I think is a little more balanced. Okay, and here's just a little sample of how the jobs will work. You know, there's an aura. I made it 3 colors so that it also kind of works with FF4. There should be a little bit of overlap between the different archetypes, so there's more flexibility. But yeah, in this case, the enchanted creature has Death Touch, and you can do this crazy thing to drain some life. FF6, they did weird things with FF6 in the official game. Where, can I just look that up? Terra. See, that's the problem. There's a lot of like Terra in in Magic the Gathering already. So they've got a version of her that's just Urza. Yeah, so to some extent, I get it. Ooh, Subterranean Spirit, that looks cool. I like that art. To some extent, I get it. They've got a commander archetype that's Mardu colors, and it's about stuff coming back from the graveyard, which plays into the whole, like, World of Ruin, you lost all your friends and you gotta get the band back together angle. But to me, FF6 is so firmly in the typical is-it spellcaster archetype. Because Magic is just seen as the ultimate, like, military asset. So now it's got this thing where Magicite effects come online as long as there are 6 or more instant and/or sorcery cards in your graveyard. Again, I'm not really good about balancing non-creature cards, so I don't know how fair that is. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get those instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard for this stuff to get going. I'm going to need to come up with, like, cheap spells in this color pair and maybe some card draw to help that get going. And maybe supplement it with other instants and sorceries and card draw and mill and stuff in the FF3 archetype, because again, I think there should be some overlap. But Terra's got it. She basically trances. She gets like way bigger and she can fly and stuff. And then Kefka, I really like this, by the way. I like the way this card turned out. It's very pretty. Love that work by Amano. Really beautiful. But he doesn't have Magicite. Instead, he has this thing where it's kind of a play on that scene where he uses the Warring Triad to nullify magic. So he shuts down opposing instants and sorceries while also buffing himself, because it's really kind of his thing. He wants all the magic for himself. He's kind of like Big Jack Horner from the newest Puss in Boots movie. The FF7 archetype is in the Simic colors, which I thought was a no-brainer. Turquoise is equal parts green and blue, and to me is very central to the aesthetic of FF7. And it's about like nature in its natural state versus nature that's been exploited and corrupted and polluted and mutated and stuff. And true to that, Cloud Strife himself is a mutant, and he is green and blue. Green because he's an eco-terrorist, but also blue because he is more of a thoughtful, introspective person who thinks a lot about why he's fighting and what he wants to fight for. And the thing here, they actually did this to an extent in the official sets. If I look at the Scorpion Guard, or what's it called? The Scorpion Sentinel. Yeah, Scorpion Sentinel, they call it now. And unfortunately, it's very clearly based on the FF7 remake version of this creature, which I don't like. I really don't like how Final Fantasy VII Remake, if you look at the artwork that they're using in this set, it has largely overwritten the real Final Fantasy VII in terms of like its identity and its public profile and its representation in everything, and that really, really bothers me. I don't like that. I don't like looking at what are supposed to be FF7 cards and all I see is FF7 Remake, because I am quick to tell people that those are two very, very different things, and I very, very much prefer the real Final Fantasy VII. I don't even call it the original Final Fantasy VII. I call it the real Final Fantasy VII, because to call it original, that would then imply that FF7 Remake is anything other than, you know, what it is, which is just a big fake. It's a fake. It's false advertising. I really don't like that game, but getting sidetracked. What I was trying to say is that I actually did kind of call this, because you see here, as long as you control 7 or more lands, this creature gets +3/+0. Well, guess what? That's kind of what I cooked up here, where Limit Break says as long as you control 7 or more lands, because again, Final Fantasy is one of those games that has a pinch of like pro-environmentalism to it, and so the more land you control, the stronger you get, and so as long as Limit Break's in effect, this guy gets way bigger and stronger. And Sephiroth has the same thing. It's actually funny. This is a bit of an unintentional thing that I did, where when the story starts, Cloud aspires to be everything that Sephiroth is. In this, Cloud starts off 2/3 and can become a 4/3. Sephiroth is a 4/3 by default. And then he has an effect that I think is very iconic for Sephiroth. So he's not black the way that he is in the official set, but I still think that it works, because black in a big way is about ambition, but Simic is also about like evolution and like superiority in a way, like believing in the natural order and the idea of like an apex predator and all that kind of thing. The pursuit of the ultimate life form, basically, and Sephiroth is just that. He's the ultimate life form. FF8 was hard to figure out. Much like FF3, it was kind of stuck just picking from the leftovers in terms of color pairs. But I went with black and red because it's got mercenaries in it. 2, it's got sorceresses in it, and they're into, you know, sorcery. And what else is into sorcery? Red is into sorcery. And for whatever reason, just black and red, those are kind of the colors that I think of when I think of Final Fantasy VIII. I guess Ultimecia and Edea, they wear a lot of black and red. Adele, too. A lot of the sorceresses kind of dressed like that. So I thought it clicked. And so I've got this. If I'm cracking up a little bit, it's because this is my first time just like staring at this artwork for a good long time, and I'm just now noticing the enormous, ridiculous giraffe neck that Squall's got going on. So we've got Junction, and for this, it's about counters among permanent center players on both sides. And that's reflective of the fact that just in FF8, you've got the Meltdown spell, which is one of the most overpowered spells ever. Inflicts enemies with Vite 0, where basically anything will blow them away. And so that's why Squall also has Wither as a way to dole out these counters. I was watching Manalog's video on failed MTG mechanics, and I was surprised to see -1 counters among them, because I was very used to playing the game in my college days at the height of the new Phyrexia block, where infects just ruined my day on a regular basis. So hearing that it was a failed game mechanic was bizarre to me. So this is what I came up with. I came up with like payoffs for having lots of counters, including -1 counters. Final Fantasy IX was the toughest for figuring out a color pair. This was like the last one I came up with, and so I just went with white and green. Just because all the other color pairs had pretty much been sorted out at that point. With enough mental gymnastics, I think I got it to work. White represents the the imperialistic forces, the warlike conquering forces, and then green is all the ragtag fellows. That being said, Kuja is also green because, he and Jidan, they're both mutants. And they've got this thing going on where they use a rather obscure word that only appears in the Brothers War, where trans comes online when you control a creature with total size 9 or greater. If you look at cards with prototype, they use the word size, and it refers to power and toughness. So a 4/5 or a 6/3 or a 2/7, those would all be creatures with total size 9. And we've got 10. I've done a lot of cooking with 10. It's all about enchantment creatures and enchantments in general. And I'm actually surprised at how similar my Titus is to the official Titus. If you just look this up real quick. Yeah, their Titus, this one specifically, it's white and blue. Mine's white and blue. His taps a target creature when he attacks. Mine taps and stuns a creature when he deals combat damage to it. But yeah, lots of enchantments, lots of enchantment creatures. Because there's lots of there's also that going on. There's all sorts of spirits and such. And Aeons. You'll see the creature type illusion come up a lot because that's kind of what Aeons are. They are dreams made real by praying to these spirits that live in stones. So there's lots of that. And the thing about the FF10 archetype is Overdrive, where effects come online as long as there are 10 or more enchantments on the field on either side. Because, 10, that's a big number. It's hard to get 10 enchantments all on your own. So that was my solution. It also makes use of a new token type, like a recurring token type that I cooked up, the Pyreflies, where they're colorless enchantment tokens. You can tap and sack them for white or blue, and you can only spend that on enchantment stuff. I've cooked up a fair number of FF10 cards. Maybe they could use a little more. But yeah, there's lots of enchantment synergy, lots of enchantments and enchantment creatures, discounts for enchantments, payoffs for enchantments. And overall, I'm pretty pleased with how it's turning out. I need to find more artwork. You can see where I kind of had to stop because I cooked up all these cards and then I started looking for artwork but then I had to stream. So I'm working on that. These are all pretty cool. But the ones that I am the happiest with would probably be Seymour and Anima. Seymour, I actually, in my notes, he was very different. And then as I tried to, like, actually figure out the details for how exactly it would work, I kind of spitballed this, where he's got, his spells, where he gets to, like, cast multiple spells. That's kind of his unique thing in that game. And then he's also got his banish, his banish spell that he does, where he gets to take Aeons and then just kick them out of battle, just instantly defeat them. And then his overdrive is basically that you get to do these abilities for no mana cost. They get massively discounted. And then Anima, this is something that I'm going to have to work on a little more. Anima is actually designed to also work with the FF3 archetype, which is going to have more auras that you put on opposing creatures to, like, debuff them and stuff. This one says you may cast aura spells that target creatures your opponents control without paying their mana cost. So really, like, nasty auras that will tap down creatures or put them to sleep, pacifism effects, debuffs, all that kind of stuff, like So Shiny or Yoke of the Damned, all that kind of stuff. You can now cast these for free as long as Anima's on the field. And some of the... I'm also pleased with some of these names, like Jack the Final Sin. I think that's a sick name. For 3 blue, he's a 2/3 that can't be blocked. This is supposed to be in italics. And on overdrive, he gets to be way stinking bigger. So that's pretty cool. And then, so this is where you get to see my bias, right? Wizards wants to make cards based on the best sellers. I am more of like a boomer where I only want to make cards based on the classic first 10 Final Fantasy games. And so there's not a lot based on games after that. Like, I only have one FF11 card, which is like this weird take on Arcades Strategist, where it's all about toughness. And then I only have one FF14 card. These are kind of combined because these are 2 online games, so they're both Bant. And then this one is kind of designed to be a weird way to clear out opposing creatures, where he gets really big, but he also has to be blocked. FF12. This is what I did for all these cards, by the way. I made them 3 colors, like shard-coded. So FF12 is Naya. And as long as you control creatures with power 12 or greater, their effects come online. Like, this guy gets a ton of keywords. This one acts like a weird version of shoot, I can't remember what it was called. The big goofy, like, golem thing that says your life total can't change. I don't remember. Hold on a sec. Advanced search. Can't change. What was he called again? Platinum Empyrean. Can I get the other artwork that's, like, more iconic? Yeah, that's cool. I love that. And here's the thing. 11, 13, and 14, and 16 I haven't played. And then 12 I just didn't care for at all. So just based on what little I knew about each of these games, that's what I kind of had to work with. So FF13 is Grixis, and as long as you have 13 or less life, the effects come online. This Cocoon might be a little too powerful. Even with the clause, whenever one or more creatures you control die scry one, that might be still a little too powerful. I might want to change that to where it only triggers once each turn. But then maybe dial up the scry to where it's more like scry 2 or scry 3. I don't know. 15 is Esper Colors. And it just asks for 15 or more permanents on your side of the board. And Noxus has a built-in way to keep them on the field. So auras and equipment, stuff that attaches, he'll keep on the field at any cost. Where if they would die, they're just attached to Noctis instead. And he also has a cheap way to attach stuff to himself. And then Lunafreya, you saw the Platinum Empyrean. This is more like a Platinum Angel effect when you get your armature going. And then FF16, which was brand new. Like, word was just getting out about FF16, I think, when I first started working on the set. I can't remember when that game came out exactly, but without knowing a lot about them, I tried to just do the best I could. So they're in Jund colors, and as long as there are 60 or more cards in graveyards, just in total, their icon effects come online. I don't know about Phoenix though. Phoenix seems really, really powerful. Like, even when I stepped it up to costing 7, just the ability to play it from your graveyard, no strings attached. I don't know about that. And then I came up with these oddball wedge-coded cards that they're kind of represented across all Final Fantasy games. So Ultima just messes up the opponent real bad, exiles a creature, deals 5 damage to the controller, then they gotta discard 2. Behemoth's just a big, awesome creature. I think that's appropriate. Ultimate Weapon, I would consider to be a superior take on what was it called? It's got some ridiculous, like, hard to pronounce name, and it's buried way, way, way down here. I think I might have actually skipped over it. What's that stupid thing called? Aether and Prewin, where you gotta pay. They make you pay so much more, just for like greater toughness. Whereas this doesn't increase your toughness, and it's way cheaper and more playable. And it's also a colored artifact that I think works way better. Ribbon, this is one of the cards that I've had to tweak a lot. After I kind of spitballed it on stream, and then I looked back and I saw that was really not designed that well. This, I think, is way better. So this hands out hexproof not only to you, but also to an equipped creature. And then Mega Elixir, which is just kind of like a miniature version of an ultimatum effect. So that's my progress on that so far. I'll be working on that more over the course of the week, and hopefully I'll have lots more to show you next time. In the meantime, feel free to leave feedback telling me what needs to get nerfed, what needs to get buffed. Any comment, really. You can tell me what you thought about the newest chapter of One Piece, or what you think about live action Chopper. Daggone it, I forgot to change the text again. Whatever. Or maybe you can leave a comment telling me what in the world is going on with OBS and why I keep scrapping the bed. Any comments is appreciated. Also, if you could like this video, that would also be appreciated, or a subscription even more so, because any support that you can give the channel helps us move on to bigger and better things. Big thanks to everyone who has liked my videos, who's commented and subscribed. You guys mean a lot to me. Still very, very sorry that I missed those comments that those folks left on Twitch. OBS just wasn't patching those through to me at all, and that was very frustrating. I thought this had already happened once before, and I thought it was fixed. But as far as future plans go, like I said, I should be getting Fridays off for a little bit. That should help me work on the channel more. Work on this current project more with my fan-made Final Fantasy MTG set. It'll give me time to set up my new setup. Set up the setup. And another thing, I almost forgot to mention this. I should be getting a couple weeks off soon. Like within the next 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, I'll get to take a little vacation. Question is whether I want that to be a vacation or a staycation, because I am very tempted to take a little trip out of town to just decompress from all the rough stuff that's been going on. It's been hard work. It's been painful work. So it'd be nice to like go somewhere else, see some familiar faces, enjoy familiar sights, go to like a nice water park or whatever, actually live it up for a little bit. But then I also really, really like as always, I feel like I'm always being pulled away from this channel, and I'd also like to focus a lot on that. So I might just take like a little short mini vacation somewhere else, but mostly the 2-week vacation, I want to spend it on this channel. Because like I said, it does mean a lot to me. I know it doesn't always seem that way because it always keeps getting pushed back by other stuff going on in my life. But yeah. So before OBS crashes again, I'm going to call it a night. And I'll see y'all later. Thanks for everything. And yeah, have a good day.